when you plug it in. Can you guys hear me now? There it is. Yep, sorry, I forgot to plug the microphone in. I have a overly elaborate setup here. Yeah, so we're back. We're playing more Aurelia the War Leader. We're right where we left off. I had 2 cuts to go. I just added 2 cards, and now we have 4 cuts to go. Yeah, last time out, things didn't go so good, so we're going to try to have a little better go today. Last time out, our issue was card draw. We did not draw cards, and also we drew just kind of badly overall. We didn't catch an equipment when we needed to because we had Pure Steel Paladin, so that was super frustrating. But yeah. So we're gonna try to fix this up a little bit. I feel like card draw's in a good spot now, but now I'm not convinced that we have like enough removal, and that's a whole thing. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Maybe the card draw. We're pretty light on spot removal. I would love a Durgar Hedge Mage in here, but there's definitely no room for that. Good morning. Took Aurelia, Angel Reanimator to my local group last week and got a win in a 5-man pod. Yeah, Angel Reanimator can do that, especially with Aurelia. In general, I don't love 5-man pods just because, like, combo tends to win. Like, whoever has, like, the biggest, dumbest, just, you know, like a Torment of Hailfire or a Crater Hoof, or, like, basically when you get to a thing where, like, damage almost doesn't matter, that's usually who wins a 5-man pod. But Angels, I have played in a number of 5-man pods over the years, and with Aurelia and the double damage, you do enough damage to actually kill, like, you know, 2-3 players at a time. So that is a cool thing. Definitely like that. Not yet, D-Manny. We're still tweaking this thing a little bit. I mean, unless I don't have Discord up. If you can find 2 other people in Discord, go ahead and do that. If not, we'll just wait for now and kind of play this by ear. So anyway, everyone in the comments after the last video yelled at me about not having trouble in pairs, so we've added trouble in pairs. I've also added Esper Sentinel right here. Unsure how to feel about Esper Sentinel in this deck. It's generally good. Putting equipment on it does make it harder for anyone to pay the cost, which is good. So maybe it'll be better than I'm kind of giving it credit for in this moment. We've definitely added too many cards. I really want to try this thing out, but it does seem like an easy cut. I'm not convinced that we have enough ramp. I need like 4 more of everything. I need 4 more ramp spells, 4 more removal spells, 4 more protection spells. You know, I've never really adopted the One Ring. It's just one of those cards that, like, it's easy to hate on. It's really easy to hate on, and, like, you know, I don't know. It took me several years to really start playing, like, Arcane Signet, because Arcane Signet was just, like, such a cash grabby kind of card when it came out. Now that they're cheap, I mean, when they were $20, that was dumb, but, like, now they're cheap, so whatever, I've adjusted. But yeah, I don't know. The One Ring is cool. Beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life for each burden counter on it. Put a burden counter on it to draw a card for each. But yeah, I mean, it does draw you cards. That is the thing that it does. Oh, yeah, it does give you protection for a turn, too. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's really good. I don't know. I'm still hating on the One Ring, so I'm just going to skip it for now. See, the Iron Crag, I don't want to cut the Iron Crag. When you're dealing with Aurelia, Iron Crag allows you to cast Aurelia and still equip some stuff and, like, have a little bit of mana left over. So yeah, it's helpful to get you through that casting Aurelia turn. I don't even have. I mean, if we're being honest, I mean Thran Dynamo probably goes ahead of Iron Crag, right? So that's maybe a thing that I got to work out here. Yeah, okay. So we've got cuts to make. Oh man, I really want a Forged Frontier also. Okay, I think I know what I'm gonna do. We're gonna get a Forged Frontier. Forge of Frontier can do some stuff. Because of that, let's see where we're at. We got, that's a white protection, that's a green protection, that's a green, no, that one doesn't matter. Forge of Frontier is red and white. Well, maybe it's not that bad. I was going to cut the Blade War Whip thing because of the protection colors, but there's actually only, what, 2 or 3? Hearth and Home, Forge and Frontier would stop it. Yeah, the other ones don't. What do we cut? Oh, that Iron Crag. The other Iron Crag. The other Iron Crag. Okay. Whenever a legendary creature you control enters the battlefield, you may have it become a legendary artifact named Everflame. If you do, it gains... Okay. Wait, loses all other abilities. I don't know how I feel about loses all other abilities. Yeah, that you know... Yeah, like, if you're putting it on, I don't know, let's say like an Esper Sentinel, that's fine, but... You know, Aurelia is a card you run for her abilities. Maybe we should test it. Yeah, I guess we'll try to jam it in here. 6 cuts to go. What are we getting rid of? Oh, the Mana Rock loses the abilities, not the creatures. Okay, good catch. Good catch, good catch. Okay. That's much, much better. That I want, that I want. You know, I think we can actually get rid of this Enlightened Tutor. What else can we get rid of? What else can we get rid of? I'm going to cut Ignite the Future. I'm going to go with Showdown instead. You know, I don't know. That's a tough call. But so Showdown pumps up your creatures, which is very relevant for this deck. Ignite the Future can live in the graveyard and has that flashback, which is fantastic. I'm going to try cutting Ignite. If I'm sad, then we might go the other way on that. I really want to try this Codsworth. I'm not convinced it's worth it, but I have not played it yet, so I'd like to do that at least one time. Ritual? We're getting rid of the Ritual? Okay. We'll get rid of the Ritual, but I don't like it. I don't like it. Makes Aurelia 2-turn clock. Yep, 2-turn clock is good. 1-turn clock if you put double strike with the +3/+3. That's how that math works for Aurelia. That's why the old Blood Rush Cyclops guy used to be really good. You know, it's very much like a big play to kill one player, but back in the day, like 12 years ago, it was kind of hard to kill players, so it had a place. Mixed feelings on Shram. I want to run it because I always don't run it, but you know, Shram's the problem with Shram is that like if it's not in your opening hand, it's really easy for things to get out of sequence, and that's why I've always kind of like shied away from it. Like I'm thinking back to the last game we played. Like Shram would have not been the. Do we even have Shram? We might have had Shram play at one point, and like Shram just wasn't the answer that we needed it to be. But it can be really good. Tried Codsworth and Nahiri recently and cut it. Maybe could try it in Aurelia. Yeah, I'd like to see it one time. I mean, do I just cut staples that, like, we know we're just going to kind of go in the... Like, okay, yeah. We can cut Sun Titan, right? Like, we've all seen Sun Titan enough times to know what Sun Titan does. Sun Titan is very, very good. And, you know, there's no question in my mind that, like, you know... Sun Titan can come back later in another version of this deck, but... Check for the basics of the deck. 10 ramp, 10 draw, 10 removal. Yeah, I need to actually sit down and count. Yeah, I hate that, like... There's not a great way to do that on Magic Online. Don't really rate land tax in a deck with Sword of the Animist and Bitterthorn. Why did I have it in there? I had it in there for synergy with what you call it, the Spear of Leonidas, because if you can like discard 2 lands, that's pretty cool. On the other hand, yeah, maybe you're right. Cut land tax. Yeah, on the other hand, if we're using either Forged Frontier, Bitterthorn, or Sword of the Animus, like our land count should be ahead of our opponents. So that should be a thing that's happening. Embercleave is not in at the moment. It may come back at some point. Like Embercleave obviously wins games. Basically, I'm trying out this Bladehold War Whip, which is the same idea. Gives it double strike, but it gives you that cheap equip cost of equipment. The bigger difference is that this is fairly cheap to get into play, where Embercleave is kind of a big clunky play. And I mean, it does kill people really quickly, but built a cool Cassandra Reanimator deck that uses the Spear to discard big creatures. Okay. Yeah, I that was something that like did cross my mind at some point. I'm like, oh yeah, you could kind of, use this to fill up your graveyard a little bit. Yeah, okay. 1 cut to go. 1 cut to go. Anyone see anything? Anyone see anything we can cut? Waves of Aggression? Yeah, we can cut Waves of Aggression. Like, Waves of Aggression is good, and it can win you games really, really easily. But I've seen it enough times to know that, like, once we can see some of these test cards and figure out if they're worth keeping or not, then we can add back Sun Titan and Waves of Aggression. Okay, next thing we're going to do is count up the cards of each type, or the cards of each function. I guess is probably the best way to say it. Make sure we got everything we need. I think I'm going to make a separate pile between card draw and value. So, like, I mean, do you just put Aster in the card draw pile? Maybe just put it in the card draw pile. We'll put it in the card draw pile. Yeah, all right, what else we got? This is we'll make the ramp pile over here. I guess we'll have a protection pile. It's kind of ramp. We need a removal pile. This seems like a good removal pile. We need an equipment pile. On the other hand, I don't necessarily feel like sorting out this entire deck. Where's the removal? Yeah, removal's there. We'll just put this there. And we'll put this there. Okay. Come on. Okay, there we go. Okay. What's next? Let's try to move that a little. Let's make this a little smaller so we can see things easier. Okay. Removal. Card draw. Card draw. Card draw. Card draw. Removal. Protection. That's not protection. This is protection. That is protection. These two are ramp. Wait, that's the card draw pile. These are ramp. 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 Mask of Memory, Talisman, Iron Crag, Signet. Let's see. Free equip, lifelink, forge and news, a lot of stuff. I'm gonna put this in the ramp pile. Kellen Reaver is a lot of ramp. This is ramp. That is ramp. This is ramp. This is card draw. I'm not going to count Spear of Leonidas as card draw just because it doesn't technically put more cards in your hand. It is looting, which is not bad, but I'm just not going to count that just because that's how I feel about it. Let's see. Removal in the removal pile. Jit is removal. It's convoluted removal, but it is. This is a card draw. Oh, wait, that's the card draw pile. That stays right there. So we have 9 pieces of card draw, 16 pieces of ramp. Maybe we've overdone the ramp. Can you ever have enough ramp? We've got 6 pieces of removal. No, that's not the removal pile. This is the removal pile. So 9 pieces of removal is a little low. 4 pieces of protection. God, I would love a Boros Charm. You're on mobile and it's hard to see any of this and the swords. I don't know how to help you in that scenario. Don't forget Brave the Sands. Oh, man, I want Brave the Sands. Always the 101st card. One card that's really overperformed in Frodo is Frodo, Determined Hero, and Fervent Champion. Yeah, Fervent Champion's in here. Fervent Champion's ridiculous in equipment decks. Yeah, we can go down 1 or 2 ramp. But I want them all. But I want them all. I mean, actually, we're at 100 cards, so we don't actually need to cut anything at this moment. All right, I'm going to cut the Archaeomancer's map. God, it's such a good card, though. Boros Charm, I think, is our friend. Bring in a Boros Charm. Feel a lot better. Part of me wants like a Leon and a Boonus, or the other one, the Indomitable Archangel, just because protecting your equipment is pretty important also. Maybe that's a better play. We'll leave this as is for now. But, let's see. So, what do we say? 9 pieces of removal. We could have a little more removal. Some of it's convoluted, like Jit and Argentum Armor. Those aren't necessarily going to help you out super early in the game. You probably need 1 more removal or a card draw for the ramp you remove. I feel okay about the card draw. 9 card draw with like pretty good options, plus a lot of ways to tutor Mask of Memory. I feel fine with that. I don't think we need another card draw in this moment. I would love another removal spell. Love, love, love another removal spell. Yeah, I don't know. I think let's just try it like this. Yeah. I'm going to check the Discord real quick to see if we have people for's a game. Doesn't look like it. D-Manny, if you're ready, I'm going to fire a game up here and you can just join. And, you know, anyone else, if anyone else is around on MTGO, feel free to hop into this game. It's going to be a public game, so. Yeah. Seize the Spotlight? Let's see. Oh god, seize is one of those hard words to spell. Seize the Spotlight. Is it E-I or I-E? Never get that right. Seize the Spotlight. What do we got? For 3 mana, for each opponent chooses Fame or Fortune. For each player who chose Fame, gain control of a creature that player controls until end of turn. Untap those creatures, and they gain haste. For each player who chose Fortune, draw a card. Ooh. Ooh, that's not bad. I guess the problem is they're always going to give you the mode that like is least beneficial, I think. That is the one issue with that. So it's tempting. It's not a bad card. The purpose of Nautilite Ship is almost exclusively as graveyard removal. And then, you know, it just kind of sits there and is a 5/5 flyer. So when you crew it, you might hit something, get, you know. So, yeah, it's primarily to be graveyard removal. Because last time we were going through, we were like, we need some piece of graveyard removal in it. This could be, you know, this could be a Soul Guide Lantern. It could be a Tormod's Crypt. It could be... Lion Sash is tricky just because it's a lot of mana. It is good, but you need the mana for it. Decks like this tend to be mana hungry. Maybe with the 16 pieces of ramp we have, it does make sense, but I want to try this out, just kind of see how it goes as like a... Because, like, yeah, you can get really locked into equipment and Voltron and creature. This is kind of like something that's on a little bit different access. Now, it'll still get cleaned up by a Vandal Blast, which the deck is super weak to. But, I don't know. I just want to try it out. We're very, very much in the testing phase with this. There's a lot of new cards out here that I just haven't seen, and it is difficult to make sense of them all. I'm going to put that game up right now. So, yep, if anyone's around, feel free to join. I'm going to get a beverage while we do that. I feel a little better about where we are now. We got the card draw worked out. Like I said, still, you know, another piece of removal would be pretty good. Part of me loves doing the Hearth and Home shenanigans. Like, you know, if deck slots weren't an issue, I would probably add, what's it called? Skyclave Apparition, Flame Tongue Kavu, and a Durgar Hedge Mage. So obviously you get like the initial ETB with them, and since you're probably getting a Hearth and Home at some point anyway, that's so much value between those things to, you know, use them again, basically. So in a perfect world, that's kind of how we would have this set up. But we're not in a perfect world. Oh, we got Jeff. Jeff in the house. What up? One to go. I'm going to try to keep a better hand this game. Kept the crappy one last game. Didn't work out so good. Heliod's Intervention. I like Heliod's Intervention in general. Again, you get so locked into like doing the equipment stuff and the mana that it takes to like, you know, drop a new equipment. Heliod's Intervention tends to be a big mana play, and you need to hold a lot of mana up for it. It's good, but it's awkward. And this deck tends to tap out a lot, so it's difficult to sort of hold that mana up unless Feast and Famine or Reaver Cleaver involved. Now, Feast and Famine or Reaver Cleaver might be a good reason to think about that. You raise an interesting point. So, you know, the problem is that I think it's almost unplayable without those two because your mana is going to be so tight. Well, we won the die roll. That's a good start. See if you can break your losing streak. 14 straight losses over the last year. Oh, wow. I mean, this may not be the game to do it. You are facing me, which, you know, is a thing. This is a weird hand. So, Shram is potential card draw. We don't have the equipment once again. That's frustrating. Lauren is card draw as long as we find, we'll have the mana right there. If we find an equipment, if we find an equipment, this hand is godly. So, let's keep this. If we don't find an equipment, it's going to get awkward real quick. What I think there's a moment here. This will be fun. If we go Fervent Champion Iron Crag, then cast Shram after that, then or Lauren, then we can equip this to the Fervent Champion, and that's very fun. That is an equipment. Okay. Let's play the Sacred Foundry untapped. Get the Fervent Champion. It does have haste, so we can poke away. Ooh, Iroas. What is this? Liberty Prime. Okay, we saw that one at some point. Don't know anything about this guy. We'll read it in a moment. We'll poke Jeff. Come on. There it goes. Okay, so how are we going to set our turns up here? I think our next best bet is to get... if we draw a third land, then I go the Iron Crag. If not, then I think about Shram to try and draw us to the next land. I did indeed add Esper Sentinel and Trouble in Pairs, as you yelled at me in the comments for not doing that. Well, let's take a read of this thing. I don't know what this is. Pearl Ear Imperial Advisor. 3 mana, 3/4. Lifelink. Enchantment spells you cast have affinity for auras. Whenever you cast an aura that targets a modified permanent you control, draw a card. Okay, it's one of those style decks. Alrighty. Well, this got awkward. This got awkward. Well, the other... we're going for the... So... if we play that, then we don't get the ramp. Oh, wait a second. Aura, equipment, or vehicle. This does not come in as any of those things. This does. But we need the mana. Ooh. I guess... we'll take our chances with Shram and pray that a land shows up off the top. Swing into D-Manny. So, yeah, this is where a land... I mean, I guess we're on the play, so land tax wouldn't help that much, but, you know. Any of those style cards that are like 1 mana to get you more lands are very helpful. Holding our breath, hoping that land shows up. Do not want to fall behind already. There's some ability to catch up, but like, you know, you got to be quick about it. You can maybe take 1 turn off, but more than that is... and you don't want to. You really don't want to. It's so hard to catch up in today's game. But, yeah. Big thing with this deck, too, is that, like, I didn't exclusively focus on the combos. Basically, I only have the Hearth and Home combo in here. There's a world... yeah, I was thinking about that the other day, too. Why isn't the 8 key working? There it goes. Signet is not quite a land. That is unfortunate. I guess we play this thing. Spread these out. Yeah, so this isn't like an exclusively combo-focused version of Aurelia, because you can do that. I did think about, when I talked about the Hearth and Home stuff with Skyclave Apparition and uh, Flame Tongue Kavu and Durgar Hedge Mage. Helm of the Host works really well with those things if you can get it on there. But the problem is, and so we did have a lot of free equips at one point, and I think we cut down a little bit. And you can actually run a ton of them, so maybe Helm of the Host does make sense again, just because there are so many free equips now. Years ago there weren't as many, at least ones that would put them on Aurelia. D-Manny has discarded a Moonshaker Cavalry. No big deal. That deck does reanimate a lot, so this will probably show up and probably kill us at some point. Did Magic Online get more laggy? Everything feels super clunky and like we're only on turn, what, 3? PSA run more graveyard hate? Yeah, I mean, we have the Nautiloid ship, but yeah, I don't know. My downfall has always been running not enough graveyard hate. That's just, I'm prepared to accept that at this point. Hard to justify those card slots. We'll see if Jeff has crashed. We'll see if he makes it back in time. Let's see what else. Actually, yeah, we'll check on our free equips right now to see how smart a Helm of the Host might be. This is a free equip, right? Oh god, why, what? Why is the zoom not working? There we go. Beginning of your, yep, that's a free equip. That's 1. It reduces the cost. That's helpful. I wouldn't consider that free. This is a free equip. That's 2. Arden is 3. Forge Anew is 4. That's reduction. Not quite the same. Aster making it 1. It's not free, but that's not that far off. We can call that, so I would call that 5. Pure Steel can be 6. Brunor is 7. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of free equips in here, so maybe we do think about a Helm of the Host at some point. Abstergo Entertainment? I feel like I looked this one up last time. Oh yeah, it's in there. Pretty sure I put it in. Pretty sure. Yep, it's right here. So there's a second. Do we still have Scavenger Ground in here? Doesn't look like it. I still actually miss what's a Remorseful Cleric. You know, that's a really good creature to have around. It carries equipment really well, right? You put literally anything on it and you're probably going to get that value in, which is awesome. And just, you know, whenever you need to, you crack it. I guess the problem is sometimes it gets cleaned up in a board wipe like before you need it, and This deck, it doesn't have a lot of ways. The Sun Titan was probably the main way you're going to bring that back. I don't have a Light and Shadow. Light and Shadow is a strange card. It's really good in some decks. Generally, you want like a high creature count. And this deck is 18 or 19. I wouldn't really consider high. That's kind of low. Steel Overseer. Yep, that's a magic card. See what opponent has. Got the cool planes, Arcane Signet. I need to get these planes. I like that planes. With the pterodactyl thing. Then it's a problem of like switching all your decks over. That's a headache. You could run a small desert package with Sand Scout, Archway, Lazatep, and Scavenger Grounds. Yeah, I'd have to look at all of those. The one thing sort of becomes Scavenger Grounds. Scavenger Grounds is good. The colorless mana does bite you, and having to hold it up, it's kind of an expensive play. Having to just like sit there and like maybe use it, maybe not. Well, there's a trouble in pairs. We don't have the mana for it, but So here are our options. Our options are play an Arcane Signet and do nothing else. Doesn't seem the best. Play an Expiring Statuary, but at least we're like, yeah, we don't really have the equipment yet, I guess. Well, that one could be. We could play this thing and try to redraw into a land. But if we miss the land, then things get worse. Ugh. Not super thrilled about what's going on here. So, the gamble is if we hit a fourth land next turn, then. Inspiring Statuary is probably this. No, because it doesn't do a lot. It gives us one extra mana, but then like we can't do anything with the second Arcane Signet. Ooh, not catching that land. Not catching that land. Feeling that. I'm gonna go for this thing. I'm gonna go on the risky line. Draw a card. Nope, that's not a land. There's still a chance we can get one for next turn. I guess we just put the Sunshram. Yeah, that's not exactly... Ooh. Flying Hexproof Indestructible. Love that. Keep attacking. This is 1-1, right? That's a 1-1. Equipped creature gets 2-0 in flying. Oh, Hexproof and Indestructible are only till end of turn. Did not realize that. Actually, that might be a lot less good than I had envisioned. Well, yeah, this turn didn't really pan out the way that I was hoping. But hopefully we catch that land next turn. And then we can start to mess with, we can like play Inspiring Statuary and Arcane Signet all in the same go. Sort of the Animist. I guess we're on the play, so we have like just a little bit more time than we would otherwise. The land count actually wasn't that bad. The land count is 35. Now, you probably want a tithe if you're doing a 35 land count deck. Or a land tax, which we cut. But, yeah. So 35 with this thing, and that's generally better than I do a lot of days now. A lot of times I've been scraping down to like 33, 34. Now, 33, 34 with tithe and land tax is very different than 34 without those, right? But what's the thinking of not going for the line increase of mana? I am rusty and I was out late last night. Is I was hopeful. So that what I was thinking about is, okay, we draw the card now. Even if we don't catch the land, it gives us another chance to draw the land on our turn, on our next turn. So it's basically just I wanted to look at one extra card. Now going Arcane Signet, or going like Statuary and then just casting Trouble in Pairs next turn, probably a better long-term play. $37 plus. Yeah, yeah, there are a lot of broken lands. I will give you that. Yeah, I mean, just, there's so many cards now, right? Like, you have so many cards competing for deck slots. It's really easy to cut lands. I'll tell you what, though, so far, not impressed with Shram. This thing, it's kind of a cute effect, but it's not like ongoing protection, and to some degree, maybe you just want like Champion's Helm or something, where you're keeping your commander protected for a longer period of time. What happened here? Assault, Dominator. Did I hear this thing is ridiculous? I feel like that thing might be ridiculous. Does that need to get shot? Whenever an artifact you control attacks, you may pay an energy if you do. Choice of 1/1 first strike trample, or yeah, okay, that thing is solid. It is solid. Protection from green and blue. Shield of Duty and Reason out of Apocalypse. There's a throwback. In terms of ramp in general, where you could run any number of signets and talisman or other 2-mana rocks, would you ever run more than the 4 for ramp variety? Soul Ring, Arcane, Signet. Reword that question. I don't understand what you're asking. Oh, there's that land. Okay, so this was the hope that, like, even if we didn't catch it last turn, this is what I was kind of hoping for. So, okay, there's the 4th land. That should make life a lot less terrible. I'm just gonna go Trouble in Pairs. We could go. The mana ramp increase is nice, but I feel like getting to our next land drop is probably better. What's this thing got on it? 3/4 protection from green lifelink. What's this? Scry's 2. Whenever another artifact you control enters mana value 3 or greater, create a 0. Oh, yeah, we need to shoot that. We need to shoot that big time. Next turn, that's going to be the Lauren. This thing gets out of control. Attack, Jeff. Attack D, Manny. So far in both games, we've done really bad at drawing our value equipment early. It's not exactly how you draw it up. Talisman. I count no MVCs. I have one. I have Sajiri Shelter in there. I really customize those based on the deck. Sajiri Shelter. Sajiri Shelter. I run in like every white deck. It's just too good not to. Kabira Takedown. I like for go wide decks. You know, if you're expecting to have at least 4 creatures in play, Kabira Takedown is really really good. Shatter Skull. I don't. Shatter Skull's okay. It's really mana intense, and I found that more often than not, I just wasn't using it. Well, this is Skyclave Apparition. Let's see how long our card draw lasts here. That's a Black Blader Forged. That's a magic card. I mean, I hope he goes after this. Okay, yeah. So, doing the Lord's work over there. Because that thing gets nutty. The new Boros one is great. Are you talking about the one that doubles the power? Yeah, you very easily could run that. Only issue is, again, the pro-white, pro-red swords could factor in. But, yeah, it's a strong card. Although, with all the free equips, you might be able to move things around the right way. Although, if you don't have the... yeah, it's, it's very playable. It's very, very playable. D-Man is going to poke us for 2. Yep. Get another land. That's nice, too, because it frees us up from not having to cast Lauren this coming turn, which I like. How many mana rocks would you run in a ramp package in general? Would 4 typically be good enough? It depends on your colors, so let's assume not green. When I think about mana ramp, we'll look at our ramp pile. Overall, I think this deck... Yeah, overall, this deck follows how I think about mana ramp pretty well. I cut the land tax, and usually I run Tithe. Like, if you have the budget, run Tithe in every white deck. It's so good. And I actually like it better than land tax a lot of the time, just because it's quicker. Land tax, you have to wait for the turn cycle to come back, where Tithe, just if you're not on the play, you can probably do it on your, second turn. So, I do like that a lot. Anyway, so... with mana ramp, I like a balance. I like a number of signets, definitely a handful of signets. The game has become signet heavy, and it never used to be. 6 years ago or so, 5 years ago, 4 or 5, anywhere between 4 and 6 years. 4 and 6 years ago, I was more of I'll run Thran Dynamo, and over the course of the long haul, Thran Dynamo will make more mana than a signet generally, if the game's going to about turn 9 or so. So I was more of a big ramp guy, and I wouldn't necessarily get carried away with the signets. But the game is so fast now, the game doesn't go 9 turns a lot of the time anymore. Turn 6 is that critical turn quite often. So signets really factor in. You want a bunch of those, but you still want things that can make multiple mana. You need your multi-mana producers and your, kind of fast signet stuff. So in our case, we've got a Feast and Famine and a Reaver Cleaver, which can generate crazy amounts of mana. In theory, Inspiring Statuary and Honor Worn Shaku can also make you 3 or 4 extra mana in a turn late in the game as well. So you want a bunch of things that come down early and get you, that signet style ramp, the 1 extra mana, but you also want some things that make you what I call excess mana, which is going to be, let's say 3+ mana for whatever it's doing. Feast and Famines, Thran Dynamos, mana doublers, Nykthos is a good one. So you need a few of those as well, because the mana you generate from a signet or 2 isn't just going to win you the game. It'll help along the way, but more often than not, the person look at Dockside Extortionist, right? Perfect example. That's why it's banned. But Dockside is, I'm gonna make anywhere between 10 and 30 mana right now, and that influx of an extra 10 to 30 mana usually leads to someone winning the game. So, you want the signets almost as a way to just like not fall behind. And then later in the game, you need the big stuff, the Reaver Cleavers, Feast and Famine, Mirari's Wake, and those colors, your doublers, to get that big extra mana to really be able to, kind of run past everyone else. Puts a counter on with that thing. This is going on the attack into the D-Manny. I really love the, choice on this. It's a cool choice to make. Love that. Goes for the... What is that symbol? Is that trample? They changed to the... What is that? Is that arena symbols? Is that what that is? Oh, yeah. Trample. Okay. Used to the text, not the symbols. I should still run Restoration of Iganjo. Yeah, that's a great point, actually. We have maybe 1 or 2 deck slots to work with, and might be able to get that in after the game. Yeah, Restoration of Iganjo doesn't usually blow you away, but it's a really good, role player. Get that extra land if you need to bring something back. How about this Trouble in Pairs, though? 3 for 3. There's the land. Love that. We can do some things this turn. Yep, told you on the... Okay, it's better than I thought. The problem is, I'm used to running Mangara, and Mangara is a little bit different in that, one, it's a creature, so it dies to, everything, and I've played Mangara and then had it get shot immediately, then I draw nothing, and that was kind of one of my concerns with Trouble in Pairs. You just drew five cards in one turn cycle? Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And we're protected against extra turns. Love that. It's probably not going to happen with... there's a blue deck here. X-Guard Armory. Love the lands. Probably need to go for the untapped land. Yeah, we got to go untapped land. Crack that. Get a plateau. Okay. I probably should have thought about what the most optimal way to play everything is here. I did not do that, but I think we got to cough out all these mana rocks. Let's get an Inspiring Statuary. Let's get a Boros Signet. Oh, right. Yeah, you can't. Non-artifact spells. Okay. Yep, that's awkward. So I think that means Arcane Signet. Get this thing. We get the sword thingy here. This has first strike actually, so I'm gonna free equip this here. And I'm gonna move this over here, and then I'm just gonna use the first strike. Oh, we gotta pay one? Oh no, we gotta pay one. Well, we don't have one to pay. Well, in theory, it was a good idea. I guess we do that next turn. So, yeah, I guess that's everything. Well, we still got a flyer, don't we? That is an 8/8, though. I think I'm staying put. There is an 8/8 out there. It doesn't have... it could get trample. That's a thing. Yeah, I think we're just staying put. This is the awkwardness with Inspiring Statuaries that we've drawn mostly artifacts at this point. Although Trouble in Pair is still in play, so I think we're in line to potentially draw many more cards here. Yeah. Inspiring Statuary is a weird one. I've run it occasionally in these Voltron decks over the years, and sometimes it's really good. Like if you have a lot of equipment out there and you're trying to get something done, it can actually be insane, but it's not always. There's a little bit of variance in the play. That's Iroas. We should be scared about that. You had a Nahiri Oathbreaker once? Nice. I really haven't played Oathbreaker. I don't think I played Oathbreaker at all, actually. I've heard it was very fast. I don't know if that's still the case or not. I tend to like, and this is probably why I don't play as much Commander as I used to. But like, I don't love fast formats that much. I really liked early Commander for the fact that like it was slow and you could do weird stuff and use weird like because I played tournament Magic. I was a standard grinder, in like 2010 through 2012 ish, and probably more like 2009 through 2012. It was a while, so a few years that I was like really playing a lot of standard and winning a lot of prize packs at FNM and stuff like that. And I sort of hated that, just like you never really get a feel for the set when you're playing standard constructed, because it's just like you run the three best cards in the set or whatever they are, right? And then you see nothing else. Now, draft is cool for like really experiencing the set. I do kick myself for not drafting Kaldheim when that came out, and that was really just more of like I didn't have time because I was producing a ton of content. When you're already doing like 40-ish hours of Magic stuff a week, it's tough to make time to do more Magic stuff a week, especially back then because of the relationship situation that I had. Extra time was not a thing that I had, so I do really wish I drafted Kaldheim, just because like drafting is a decent way to get the flavor of the set and just kind of see all the like the little cool nuancy bits. And anyway, Commander used to have some of that too, where you get to see these big weird creatures and weird interactions, and now like things have really kind of consolidated into you know everything tends to be very staple heavy, although now there are so many cards that like you know my definition of a staple probably isn't the same as it was like 5 years ago. Um, but like if you start thinking about a Boros equipment deck, right? There's probably a list of about 200 cards, and then you choose the best 100 or so for that list. But you're looking at this pool of probably about 200 cards that are gonna make sense for you in a Boros equipment deck, right? I haven't played mono green. I haven't seen mono green in a long time, but like mono green was like one of the most samey colors all the time. Yeah, mono black could run into that too, with the tutors and stuff. And just like mono black, every deck, every game plays out the same. Just like, oh my god, it gets old. I do miss playing Shieldred though. Anyway, I miss the more exploratory days of the format. The four color commanders ruined Commander. Changed my mind. So I saw a post somewhere a long time ago, and it really kind of resonated with me. Is that before four color commanders, because also before four color commanders, there weren't that many five color commanders, and the ones that there were very narrow in what they did. Like in 2012, if you ran a five color commander, you were probably running a sliver, and if you weren't planning to do like sliver stuff, then that five color commander like really wasn't doing a lot for you. It was basically just that you would have commanders for just colors, right? That's the thing that used to happen. And I mean, I think that's more or less gone by the wayside for the most part. But in Commander, color matters. Color is important. if you're having a lot of 4 and 5 color commanders, you're basically removing the importance of color because you kind of just have all the colors, right? Having 4 colors is very similar to having 5, right? Where the difference between like 1 to 3 colors is pretty significant between 4 and 5, because at 4 and 5 colors you just like you can cover every weakness you have and just do all kinds of wacky stuff. I should probably pay attention to what's going on over here. Satya Etherflux Genius. 3/5 Menace Haste attacks. Create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of up to one other non-token. Make a bunch of energy. The beginning of the next end step. Sacrifice a token. Okay. We did catch a final showdown in our card draw. We saw that one in the last game, and it was ridiculous. And, you know, this may be a reason for another final showdown. We shall see. I don't know that we have it, but I would love a Vigilance equipment. Because if we go Vigilance with Black Blader Forge, that shuts down a lot of issues. Being attacked... No, it's over there. Being attacked with a 3/5 in the air. Yeah, I guess we just take that. You like monocolor commander plus background? Yeah, like a 2-color partner deck I don't mind. That's totally fine. That doesn't bother me. It's really like, again, when you get to 4 and 5 colors, it's kind of like you've removed the importance of color because you have all the cards at your disposal. And I think that was a net negative for the format. Like, yeah, it was exciting and it sold a ton of packs and people were like, love the power. And also a lot of the commanders, and was that C16 were just like too strong. But yeah, we have watered down the importance of color over time. Opponents got their own Shram. Makes sense. Child of Alara used to be a go-to 5-color. Yeah, that was another one. The problem is Child of Alara is miserable. And like, if you were trying to do like, let's say like a weird like enchantment-y combo or something, like Child of Alara probably wasn't the best commander. A lot of times for me, I would just use the indestructible sliver. Just like, it's an indestructible blocker. You just run it out there, right? And you know, you got a 5/5 that just sits there, and it's harder for people to attack you. So that was kind of my move when it came to old school 5-color decks. Here's an austere command. Well, we found all the removal. Didn't find an extra land, although if we start dropping equipment down, we might. Okay. Oh, here's a question. Can we use the Inspiring Statuary ability to pay for the spree of this? Does this work with additional costs? Anyone know? Yes, you can. Okay, cool. Yeah, we might be on the final showdown turn here. Is that flash? That is flash. How much mana do we actually have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 7 to do that, which means we would not have enough to also cast this. Unless we cast this first and then use that for the mana. Okay. Yeah, okay. So play that. I think we're just going to chill and then final showdown at the appropriate moment. And send everyone back to the Stone Age. Well, Jeff's out of cards. Feel very bad if I... We'll see if he wants to attack D-Manny. Or any of our other opponents. How about this Trouble in Pairs, though? Just sit here, just keep drawing cards over and over again. Pretty wild. Toshiro is not like any other mono black deck. Says Toshiro, does that get an instant back or something? Run all the removal spells. Yes. No. Yeah, whenever an opponent creature dies. Yep. Yeah. Yep. I've seen Tachiro a bunch over the years, and it's like it's never as good or controlling as I expect it to be, right? Like when you see that commander, you're just like, oh, I'm never going to have a creature in play. And it never usually actually seems to play out like that. Maybe just people weren't building good versions of him, because, that's a thing. But Angel of Destiny, that's a magic card. Singing, what can I say besides you're welcome? You don't trust WotC to not do something stupid with Universes Beyond? I mean, have we not already done stupid things with Universes Beyond? I'll pick on like my favorite one. Like, I love Jurassic Park. It's my favorite movie of all time. Uh, I was at an event last night and I literally wore a dinosaur shirt, right? Like, and as much as I love that, I don't think it fits in the Magic universe. And like, it's cool and exciting to see the cards, but again, like, I would give up my Jurassic Park cards if we could also get rid of the other, the other universes that feel very not Magic. What's that? Is this? No, this is that Fallout? Yeah, like this guy, you know. Um, so like The Walking Dead was obviously the first one that really kind of got people wound up. But what do we have coming? Like the Avengers. Like I love the Avengers movies, but I don't think they fit in the Magic universe. Maybe that's the crusty old Magic player in me talking. But yeah, as cool as they are, I feel like that's a different game. That's a different game altogether. Stuff like Lord of the Rings and Baldur's Gate makes sense in the Magic universe. They're like, the world building is very similar, and the flavor is also kind of the same. So, yeah, I am not thrilled about Universe Beyond products for the most part. Like, yeah, there's cool stuff in them, but I miss when my Magic cards were Magic cards, and now they're Captain Americas and stuff. Yeah, Angel of Destiny's a wacky card. D-Manny goes back to 36 off of all that. Yeah, that's always a concern. You're just saying that because I haven't experienced the awesomeness that is your cap deck versus Iron Man yet? Yeah, I know. Like, and, I'm not saying I'm not going to play Captain America because he looks extremely cool. But flavor wise, like, it just doesn't fit the universe, right? Like, I think it's cool. Like, part of me is like, yeah, the design of Captain is awesome, right? But it's just, you know, again, I miss when my Magic cards were Magic cards. That is a thing that I long for. We're getting SpongeBob later. Wait, are we really getting SpongeBob? Are you just messing with me? Oh, there's multiple people talking about SpongeBob Secret Lair. Yeah, right? Like, okay, so if I didn't like the Avengers are at least cool and, superheroes fighting and stuff. Like, Magic is a game of battle, right? It's a strategy game. And, sure, at least you have some element of, like, fighting one another within the Avengers universe. SpongeBob. Really? We're doing SpongeBob? And, like, I don't know. I'm a little older than the average watcher of this channel, so, like, I just miss SpongeBob being a thing by, like, a couple years. So I know younger people younger than me love SpongeBob. But yeah, I don't know. SpongeBob doesn't seem like it. It's not it. The identity of Magic has been permanently altered. I would like to see it reversed, but it won't happen under WotC. I kind of love Iron Man and want real version to play. Yeah, yeah. Magic has some issues, right? Like I mean, credit to the game for what are we in 24, about to be 25, so 32 years of Magic the Gathering. Most things just don't last that long, right? And I'm talking even beyond games, right? Like most businesses, many things in life do not last 32 years, right? And so credit to them for keeping it going. The problem is that like the cracks of the game and like the cracks in the engine that you built also become apparent over 32 years. And the mana system, for as good as it is, does still have issues. And maybe some of it just comes down to like, well, all right. So we're getting into this. One of the things that has bothered me about Magic, and this is nothing with Magic specifically, it's the problem that it's a paper card game, is that when you're used to playing like video games, right? If there's a broken thing, like a broken card, or then like something is too strong, they just fix it, and then when it gets patched, they do a patch note, and then life is good. When you release a broken card in Magic, that card just kind of lives on forever, right? And then you just have to deal with it, and that kind of sucks, right? Like there's been so many cards over the years. Think about all the cards from there's always like one or two cards in a set that are just like way stronger than everything else. And if they brought all those cards down like in power 10 or 15%, right? The game would have stayed at like a much tighter power level. Whereas like, it's been just increasing almost exponentially over the past 5 years. Well, there's a lot of stuff happening. So the big ones are going to D Manny. And that's exactly why I'm waiting on this what you call it, final showdown. Man, this card, instant speed board wipes. What? If Musk buys MTG, he will rename MTG to Xning. Yeah. I mean, Elon Musk buying Magic is probably the only way it gets worse. Actually, that's not true. There's a lot of ways it could get worse. I mean, as annoyed as I am about Watsy's decisions, like, there's probably other companies that could be even worse and more greedy about it and just, really, really kind of run the ship into the ground. Activates the Gaia Reach Sanitarium. Okay. So, D-Manny looking for answers, I think. Yeah, as much as I don't like what Watsy's doing right now, it could always be worse. It could always be worse. Oh, yeah, Trouble in Pairs. Just keeps drawing us cards. I mean, this is a cool one that says people probably die. What do we got to get rid of? Arden is probably not. Signet? I don't know if we're going to have time to get the Signet in. I think Signet. All these other cards are ridiculous. Enjoyed the Aurelia +1/+1 counters deck. What would be your recommendation of ratios of things that place more counters on creatures, payoffs? I haven't played it enough to know the exact ratios. I played it maybe, I want to say, maybe 5 or 6 times. And yeah, it's a fun deck, right? It's a fun little deck. And getting the ratio right is probably the hardest part, right? So, because, again, you still have to have your card draw. Now, stuff like Trouble in Pairs, which has been drawing us cards all game, right? You can theoretically run less card draw if you're able to get this reliably, right? Not that deck, you need an Enlightened Tutor, but yeah, we'll see how this goes. Let's see. Did he find it? No, he's got a generous gift. Okay. That's fine. Nice to catch you live. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. I will be in New York for Christmas time. Get to see my parents. I went home very recently. I went home to Thanksgiving. So usually I go home for 4th of July. But there was a concert in Austin that I wanted to see on July 5th, so I didn't go home this year. And Thanksgiving was weird because like it was actually really hard to get friends together. I think I saw them like once, which usually, when I was younger, we used to hang out like every night. And, now that people are like older and have families and stuff, that don't happen so much. And I realize the importance of 4th of July is that on 4th of July, everyone wants to go to a barbecue. So it's really easy to get everyone in the same spot. Yeah, we're just going to keep taking that damage. Going to be snowing around the 21st-ish? Yeah, I'm flying on the 21st. So hopefully I don't get snowed in somewhere. Have flight delays and things like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting. And a lot of my friends are flying in. Sadly, I've got to work during that trip. Don't have so much more time off. But yeah, as I've gotten older, and particularly as I moved away from home, like I've really come to appreciate what Christmas means. Like getting together and seeing your friends and family, because like I don't get to do that stuff a lot of the times. My family's in New York, and a lot of my friends are in like California and Portland, and places far away from Texas. So. What do you think about the Kaladesh topic? Honestly, I don't even want to get into it. I don't even want to get into it. What I would do wish though, I wish WotC would like. I want WotC to have good press. When does WotC gonna have like good PR and like? I feel like everything I see about WotC over the past 4 years is just bad press, and you're just like, ugh. What are you guys doing? Stop being dumb. I don't know. Some of it's like I like I don't need my corporation to have like to try and have like a personality and seem like, oh yeah, we're a good corporation. No, like I just need you to be like I need you to be not terrible and just make cards in the in the game that I like, right? I don't need you to have like a corporate position on social issues, you know what I mean? Sick of that, right? Because everyone kind of see through it anyway, right? Like it's just like clearly you would want to. Clearly, this is a ploy for you to make more money, right? Or at least attempt to make more money, and it's just so disingenuous, right? That's my issue with it. Did opponent just F6 their turn? Yeah, it's their end step. Well, I guess it's time for this final showdown. Oh, wait, we gotta do this in the right order. Start with the Mithril Coat. Hope that... We're gonna double check all this. We should double check this math. So we pay this, this, and this. And that'll give us 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. And then we should have 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah, I think we're good. Let's pay that, pay that, pay that. And we get to draw a card. We are drawing really well this game. We've outdrawn the table. Nearly every word can be an insult in certain languages. Yeah, I agree, right? Like, one of my coworkers, he's a developer, or not coworkers, one of my friends rather, is a developer and was talking about how he got in trouble for using the word dummy account at work, right? Like he was just using like a test account to show someone something. And apparently someone got bent out of shape about the word dummy. And I'm like, really? That's how far we've gone? Ugh. So try to cast this final showdown. Uh-oh. Did I miscount? I feel like I might have miscounted. Hopefully we've got enough for this. We do not. We're one short. Okay. We got to give up on a mode. Is anything indestructible? Because if nothing is indestructible, then we don't care about the losing abilities. Iroas is indestructible. Blowing up an Iroas is pretty good. As much as I'd like to keep... I think we can part with Fervent Champion. I like Fervent Champion, and it's good, and it's, you know, been nice for us. But since I miscounted here, we'll go all creatures lose all abilities and destroy all creatures. Kaboom! Words are offensive. Okay, dude. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. You have no issues with the change. It's literally the least of MTG's problems. That's fair. Oh, we did blow up our Shram. Whoops. Well, I forgot that that's how that worked. Anyway, Final Showdown is a ridiculous Magic card, and I feel very good about the direction of this game in this moment. I feel like opponent sort of maybe knew that the board wipe was coming. Probably wasn't that hard to suss out, but play the Marsh Flats. Crack the Marsh Flats. I think we're just going... We're going for the untapped here. Just get a Plains. I mean, do we need more card draw via Tome of Legends? I do think it is time... Ideally, Aurelia and Arden would be the best things we could do here. White, red, red. Iron Crag turns into a thing? Yep. Oh, God. Peeps might be dying. Peeps might be dying. Use the... Ah, crap, I forgot to use the mana first. How important is that mana? I think we're okay without it. Maybe not. Well, if we're just casting Arden... Yeah, okay. We can go... Well, if it becomes an equipment, we can just do the same. Oh, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Okay. I think we're good. Use that ability. How much is this? Freebie! Completely free. Love that. Let's get an Arden. The thing we have to be careful of is... So I want to overcommit and put this Black Blade in, because that's really silly, but we should really leave up this Sajiri Shelter in case there's spot removal right here, which there probably is. Yeah, we'll be smart about it. So, yeah, let's go to combat. Let me read this, because I always get the order. Arden and Halvar have the reverse clicking order, and I mess that up a lot. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may attach any number of auras and equipment you control to target permanent or player. So we target the creature. Target the Aurelia. Oh, we just need one white. Oh. Well, too late now. Too late now. Well, oh yeah, no, we could have got it. We could have got it. Well, sadness. Like I said, I stayed up too late and I'm rusty. Equip this, equip that, equip that, equip this, and equip that. Oh, it's not quite one hit lethal. Disappointing. Is there any way to get 2 damage somewhere? Um. Oh, tell me I just. Oh my god, I just clicked through a combat. Undo. Yep, that just happened. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Wasn't looking. I got distracted thinking about too many things. Well, that's unfortunate. I forgot that I thought we were still in the like begin combat, and then I went to click OK to. We were already in declare attackers. That is so unfortunate. And now opponents have a really big chance to respond to us. We did just blow up an Iroas with the final showdown, though. There is something exciting about that. Yeah, this is kind of what I was worried about. Please don't have haste. Skyclave is gonna do some nastiness. Oh, does this stay? This stays in equipment? Okay. Recruiter is back. Oh, no, he doesn't get the Skyclave back. Okay. That play is not as scary as I had envisioned. No, actually it can be because he can get Karmic Guide with this thing. Things can be very bad. Karmic Guide, Revel Arc, one of the two. That's the main reason you can't get an MTGO, the misclicks. Yeah, I mean, you need to be very thoughtful about what you're doing on MTGO because there are no takebacksies. And when I'm playing a lot, it's fine. The fact that I haven't been playing very much, like, as I'm talking and trying to, like, commentate the game, you are kind of doing two things. And so, it's just really easy to lose track of something. I would say, like, during most of my filming, up until maybe the last, like, 2 years that I was really posting a lot, like, the first 5 years, I was very good about, like, there were very few misclicks in my games. Like, an exceptionally low number of misclicks. And please don't give haste. There's a land. For card draw these days, do you run more burst card draw options like Ignite the Future, Insatiable Avarice, or draw engines like Mask of Memory, Trouble in Pairs? What's your balance? Yeah, it's about balance, right? Like, sometimes we can take a look at the card draw in this deck. They're making a gnome. Okay. Going over there. So, like, if we look at the card draw in this deck, where is it? Oh, hold on, let me have 6 here. Trouble in Pairs is repeatable card draw that it does require your opponents to do stuff, so, sometimes they might play around it, and that can be annoying, but it is fairly difficult to play around all of it. Showdown is bursty. I like that. Astor has some synergy with Hearth and Home. It's more of a one-shot kind of thing. Esper Sentinel is repeatable. Shram is sort of repeatable, but like really hasn't performed. I mean, I think we've drawn maybe like 2 with Shram. Pure Steel is very good because of the free equips. Toma Legends is repeatable. Mask of Memory is repeatable. Prophetic is repeatable. So in this case, I've got a lot of repeatable, but also when you're doing the Voltron thing, just now that we have creatures that kind of do that stuff better, then it's good to have. You want to balance of both, right? Because sometimes you're just like, I just need extra cards in my hand right now, and like I may not be able to get a creature through. So that's where like Showdown and Ignite are really good. I don't find myself longing for it that often, but like in the last game that we played with this deck, I was like, oh man, we could use a Wheel of Fortune for this hand. Could really just use an entirely new hand because I don't see this one getting it done. And yeah, so again, it's a balance, right? And different decks are probably going to want slightly different things. If you're not attacking a lot, something like Tome of Legends isn't going to be the best for you. I will say the one card that like I have not run as much as I should is Skull Clamp. Skull Clamp is just dumb. Like realistically, it should just be in every deck unless your deck has like no creatures at all. Skull Clamp is a ridiculous Magic card, and it's so easy to like, for a deck like this, it's really easy to pass it up, but like easily, we could have like clamped the Fervent Champion to get an extra draw, and then when this went down, that's 4 cards, right? And yeah, Burst is like Burst when you're just like, I need cards right now. I don't have time to deal with the setup, right? Because there's a little bit of setup with like Mask of Memory and let's say Forge and Frontier, right? Forge and Frontier gets you cards, but if your mana's not great, like it can get really awkward. Someone said they run a 50-50 split with about 12 pieces. Yeah, that's a very good approach to take. And, like with Boros, it's sort of like there are more card draw options now, but it's sort of like you just take the good ones that make sense for what you're doing, right? In a go wide deck, Chivalric Alliance is a really cool one. Where like in this deck, you just wouldn't run that because, we haven't had more than 2 creatures all game, right? So, ew, Cathar Commando. That's not what we want to see. That's bad for our big equipment that want to kill things. Wait, is this still D-Manny stuff? Well, it's going to be tougher to kill D-Manny now. What's this do? Create a white gnome with this creature's power and toughness are equal. Oh, no. Well, I think he did that in the wrong order, thankfully. But I'm very sad that we didn't just get to have that Blackblade Reforged, Excalibur turn. That would have been extra silly. You get 10 to 30 extra mana in a turn, vomit out your hand, and redraw. Yeah, at a deck like that, you're going to want a lot of draw. Wait, something blow up? Did he target the wrong one? Oh, he targeted the Mithril Coat. Mithril Coat has Indestructible itself, I believe. Yep. Well, punt deserves punt. One thing I like to think about too is like reliable card draw versus non-reliable card draw, and that's sort of similar, but like, ignite the future and Showdown of the Scalds. The only way to stop those is a counterspell, right? Like you're gonna get the cards. Skull Clamp, any of the equipment based stuff, they can shoot the creature beforehand, and then you get nothing, and that is always terrible. Something like Trouble in Pairs, as good as this is, and it's been insane, if they just shoot it the second you play it, right, then you probably draw nothing off of it. And, I've had that happen. It's bad when that happens. Facebreaker is ramp and card draw, for example. Yeah, I never adopted that card heavily. I try to run it a little bit more when I'm, especially if it's like a go widey sort of thing. But just telling opponents, punt for punt. I punted my combat with the greatest combat card in the game, Aurelia. Hopefully nothing crazy. A farewell would be not great. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, then return. Oh yeah, that looks up to 2 target auras or equipment cards from your graveyard attached to the creature. What? Why aren't we running this card? We should be running this card. Why didn't anyone tell me about this? Chat. I just wanted to say, you still use the deck building guide, how to cut your card down to 100 cards. Yeah, the video's actually, like, done okay, because, like, when it first came out, it really didn't, like, I'm like, guys, and I probably needed to make it shorter, honestly, but I'm like, guys, there's a lot of useful information in this video, and, like, later on, it's finally gotten some views, and yeah, people have found it very helpful. I don't know where I'll find time to do this, but I should do, like, an updated version of that. I probably need to, like, just get in the spirit of building more. Because the numbers are going to change a little bit, right? So back then I think you could run about 9 5-drops in a deck, and like you probably wouldn't now. Everything's kind of really pushed more into the 2 and 3 mana spots. I'm a big inspiration for you. I appreciate everyone else's advice. Cool, thanks, man. Holy Mantle is a magic card. I keep jamming Bitterthorn. This is Animist in my decks, but I feel it underperforms. I really like Bitterthorn. I think I like it more than Sword of the Animist, honestly, because you don't have to sit there and equip it. I run both, but also the redundancy, having 2 of those effects plus a Hearth and Home, basically 3, ridiculous. So good. You know what's not in this deck? Dousing Dagger. Okay, well, we've made it back to our turn and no one blew up our stuff, so that's impressive. So I think we get another crack at trying to do this thing again. Oh, if we pay a bunch of mana into that, we can get Double Strike. I don't think that'll be relevant, because if we, with a little more power, Aurelia just kills everything she touches anyway. That is exciting, though. Okay, play this land. Play the old Blackblade Reforged. We got rid of all the extra combat, so there is no way to kill all 3 players. So, that being the case, make sure we don't mess it up this time. Click Aurelia. Choose the Blackblade Reforged. We are now in Declare Attackers. D-Manny is... Letting D-Manny live is never a good idea. We'll send this one in to Jeff. One thing we do need to be careful of, and this is a long shot. D-Mana goes down. Uh, Back to combat. Is that there is a world in which they find some magical combination of things that just like one-shot us, and that would be terrible. And for that reason, maybe we just take them down and we'll let Jeff have the last go here. Double check all my stuff. So if we do that, we do that, and then we use this thing for some pro-white. Pro-white. Oh, something fell off. Oh, Celestial Armor. That's fine. Yeah, they're more likely to kill us from their position than Jeff is from his position. He's got an Inventor's Fair. This thing's kind of interesting. But he's got 0 cards in hand, so that's sort of what I'm banking on. We're just going to pass like that. You know, we're already in a winning position. And there is white, so you have to watch out for a Farewell. So might as well just leave some things in the hand if that should show up. Nelly Borka wants 2-mana ramp. Yeah, like different decks want different things. You know, again, you are going to run some number of signets, but 4-mana commanders, maybe a few extra signets. Something like Aurelia, you do need things that produce extra mana, just because she is very expensive. Has anyone played Roaring Chargers? Seems good. No, I don't even know what that one is. See what Jeff's got. We are actually soft to like a big board wipe. Well, we got Mithril Coat and Aurelia, so I get she would stay. But like an Artifact board wipe, Artifact board wipe would clean up a lot of the problems and actually buy him more time. Return to the battlefield, transition. Have you guys played these? What are they? What's that mechanic called? Out of the fire. Have you guys played with any of the craft with artifact stuff? Are there any that are like notably good? There's a lot of text on them, and it's actually just a lot to read through, so I haven't really played them. Flying. I guess we got to attack twice. Yeah, we have a lack of keywords from equipment in this moment. Could use the old trample. Swing in with Aurelia. Blocks with the thing. Back to combat. Do it again. Down he goes. Yeah, crazy game. Jeff's losing streak continues to 15-0. Sorry, Jeff, or 0-15, I guess. We had a super big punt in there. But Trouble in Pairs was ridiculous. What, we draw 10 extra cards with it at least? Where is it? Right there. Yeah. So many extra cards. So many extra cards. What I didn't care for, so what can we take out? You know, I still wasn't, like, super impressed with Shram. Like, You still need everything to line up the right way, which like it kind of hasn't with Shram. And like, ah, ah. So, what? Anyway, what were we getting rid of? Where's that mantle thing? Yeah, celestial armor was fine. But the fact that it's not continuously protective is maybe not my favorite. So, the kind of the fact that you can play it as a spell is very interesting, and just like as a protection spell, one time. Um, but yeah, I think I'm gonna cut that one. The Iron Crag was fine. You know, the 3-3 didn't really become like super relevant at any point, but because I mean, we already had like two really big equipment out, so you know, very easily I could see turning this into a Thran Dynamo because we actually don't have Thran Dynamo in the deck, and I'm still very much a proponent of Thran Dynamo. What else did we see? Blacksmith Talent. The thing was pretty good with what you call it, the Inspiring Statuary. So that was like extra mana off that. I do like that it's cheap. You just kind of get it down quickly. And we because we had Arden, we didn't need to use the third ability. But if we didn't have Arden, then we would have. Cut Shram for Facebreaker or Iganjo. Very possibly. How do we feel about Facebreaker in this deck? Maybe you're right in that like a little bit of treasure mana might be nice here. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player. Oh yeah, also we're an Aurelia deck, so that can happen a lot. Yeah, we should probably add a Facebreaker. Yeah, and again, like Shram, he's fine. So Healy's Lattice is Tormenting Voice on ETB, so great in Artifact Focus. I don't. I looked at Hexplate. I don't think we need Hexplate for this deck. I mean, I would add Waves of Aggression long before I add a Hexplate. Because Hexplate, yeah, I don't know. Just Hexplate. This isn't the deck for Hexplate. I don't think. Um, okay, so you shouldn't expect to really craft them in the first place. So you want to be getting benefit off the front half of any of the craft with cards. Um, let's see. What other changes can we make? Yeah, I mean, Trouble in Pairs is ridiculous to the point where, like, if you find this and it sticks like it did for us, you don't need any of your other card draw, and that's a really interesting place to be. Um, we have a bad habit of not drawing the swords of X and Y early in the game, which I'm not thrilled about. Dire Flail? What is a Dire Flail? I did think about with all the free equips. Oh yeah, 2-0. Craft with artifact. Equipped creature gets 3-0, and as whenever this creature attacks, you may sacrifice an artifact other than this. When you do, it deals damage to its power to target creature. Seems ambitious. It seems ambitious for what we're doing. You know, you think about like, because also, yeah, I mean, this deck doesn't have like a lot of things you want to sacrifice, right? Like, so yeah, I don't know, might be a little too much. Brass Tunnel Grinder. Enters the battlefield, discard any number of cards, then draw that many number of cards. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, put a boar counter on it. Then if there are 3 or more, you may remove those counters and transform it. On the backside, add red. Whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana, that discover X, where X is this spell's mana value. There's a lot of text on this card, and I don't really know how to feel about it, to be completely honest with you. Probably need to see it one time. if you've descended this turn, what is descending? Oh, you descended if a permanent was put in your grave. Okay. Okay, so you descend and you put a war counter. Then if there are 3 or more, it flips over. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, it's slow. I would say that, what you call it, Restoration of Iganjo is probably faster. Where is it? Like, this is just solid. At 3 mana, it's maybe a little clunky, but it would have, like, having this in our opening hand would have been pretty solid for us. Yeah, it would have been a solid choice to have. We still haven't added Sun Titan back to the deck, so maybe... Shroom's still in here. Do we cut Shroom? Yeah, I'm going to cut Shroom for Sun Titan. That seems fair. Shroom, a little bit unreliable. A little bit unreliable. Sun Titan, incredibly reliable. I don't know that there's ever been a more reliable white creature. Dowsing Dagger is, yeah, one that probably needs to come back in. I don't know where it's going, but... What else do we see? So this is kind of the inverse of Dowsing Dagger. This is a mana rock first and then becomes an equipment. Dowsing Dagger is an equipment first and then becomes mana. The mana from Dowsing Dagger is insane, usually. If you flip an early Dowsing Dagger and no one shoots that land, like, you win that game a lot of the time, because that is a lot of extra mana. Final Showdown continues to be ridiculous. Like, this is a game-winning card because you can time it. And, I mean, the fact that we blew up creatures with indestructible, we got Iroas. Like, Iroas is notoriously difficult to get off the board. And a lot of times when D-Man is playing that deck, like, you don't want to use a Swords on it because he usually has the mana to just recast it. Unless that Swords means life or death to you. And so the fact that you can clean it up in a board wipe that's getting rid of other stuff is fantastic. Dowsing Device? Oh, it's a different card? I can spell dowsing. Dowsing. Is that right? Sundering Titan. That's what we need. Dowsing Device. When it or another artifact you control enters up to one target creature you control, gets +1/+0 and gains haste. Not bad. Until end of turn. Then transform it if you control 4 or more artifacts. It's interesting. It's a haste source. Target creature gains haste in XO, where X is the number of artifacts you control. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm not committed to it for this deck, necessarily. But I feel like in a deck where you need more haste. You know, haste and then transform. If you control 4 or more artifacts. It should transform pretty easily. If Aurelia didn't have haste, so like if I were running literally any Boros Voltron commander that didn't have haste, I'm probably thinking about this. I feel like because Aurelia has haste already, that's going to be the one thing that keeps me from running it here. Haste Enabler plus land equal win con. Yeah, right? Yeah, no, it's very, very solid. It's incredibly solid. What else? What else? Still didn't get... Well, if you're drawing a million cards, then you don't need as much removal. So that's cool. Would still love another removal spell. Denitha's still in here. Waves of Aggression didn't make it back in yet. I'm tempted to fire up another game, but I gotta like I know I'm kind of tired, and I don't know. A long game would not be good in this moment. Let me see if like D Manny's around for like a 1v1 or something. Cut Flame Speaker, no way. Flame Speaker's so good. So, number one, this says Double Strike and Trample. There are. I'd have to double check, but like for a long time, there were no other creatures that like made it into the deck list naturally that had Trample, right? And just having natural Trample is good. Now, also Double Strike is insane. So, Double Strike with any of the X and Ys and Mask of Memory. Where's Mask? I lost Mask. Wherever Mask is, Umazawa's like is insane. And then that's not even getting to the impulse draw. Now you have to be careful with that impulse draw because sometimes you exile things you want that you can't cast. But if you're stuck, like, you know, we were kind of having that awkward early turn there, like an early Flame Speaker would have like got us chewed us through the cards that we needed to get to the lands, right? So it yeah, Flame Speaker, too good for this deck. And like there is some skill involved because I've had that impulse draw bite me a number of times too. Like it's not trouble in pairs where like you just set it and forget and like everything is magical. Like there is a little bit of like, okay, I need to be very thoughtful about how I spend my mana and leaving mana up for impulse draw and hope I don't exile my Teferi's Protection and stuff like that. But on the other hand, I think I already had the Facebreaker in, did I not? Anyway, here's someone asked about the bottom of the lands list. Here's what I've got right now. Plateau, Rogue's Passage, Sacred Foundry, Slayer's Stronghold. I don't always run this one, but I've started to just because mana is better than it ever used to be. Spectator Seeding is good, but not necessary. Sunholm, I love for a Voltron deck or any attacking deck. War Room, Windswept Heath. I would probably add a Strip Mine. That seems to be the one that's missing right there. We have no ways to remove lands. That seems like an issue. Add a Strip Mine. Oh, I don't feel like cutting a land, though. I don't feel like cutting a card. I would love to see the Iron Crag another time. I'm not completely sold on it. Like, it's cool and it's interesting. It's not bad. But I don't know that it didn't like blow me away with power. And like we are kind of in the era where cards just need to blow you away with power, right? Like let's look at decks that like let's look at cards that can like just kill you, right? Farewell is one of them. Final Showdown is one of them. Teferi's Protection is one of them. Reaver Cleaver, if you get a big hit, like the mana can just Feast and Famine, same thing. Trouble in Pairs, game-winning card draw if it just sits there all game. Yeah, so and there's a Jessica's Will somewhere. I mean, Jessica's Will doesn't just win the game, but it is very helpful. Okay, D-Manny's not around. We'll see if we can just like... Oh, that's CEDH. I don't know if we want that. Oops. No one saw that. No one saw that either. There we go. I think I added the Facebreaker, didn't I? Yeah, it's right here. Facebreaker's right here. So we've got a Facebreaker, yeah. And so what I like about Facebreaker also is the menace. So, you know, when you're trying to get your sword hits early, you know, occasionally there's a blocker. Let's say there's a Solemn Simulacrum that's like going to be annoying for you. Just that little bit of menace gets you past the one annoying blocker they might have that stops the sword hit from going through early in a game. Pretty helpful. Plus all the other things that it does. You want Restoration of Iganjo? I don't know where to put it. So, yeah, like there's nothing that I really want to cut in this moment. I'll tell you what, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not going to do this now, but the number of free equips that exist means that I probably really need to rework the combo version of this deck, because that should make it really easy to get Helm of the Host on Aurelia. And the main difference with the combo deck is that you might run Excalibur. You probably don't run like a Black Blade or Forge, even though you probably should. The idea is that like you're not really going for damage. You are going for things that draw you more cards until you hit the combo, and then you don't care about damage because Aurelia does infinite damage, right? Sundering Eruption. Oh, is that awesome one? Destroy target land. Its controller may search the library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle creatures without flying camp. Yeah. I really like this card. Yeah, we should probably put this in. This seems like very valuable. Let's get that Strip Mine back in, too. Strip Mine. Okay. First thing we need to do is cut a land. Nykthos is probably not the correct land for this deck, so that can come out. And now we need to cut something else. I don't want to cut the Iron Crag because I would like to see it again. Let's think about this game. What would Codsworth have done this game? It's not awful. Again, it does a lot of things. It's just not the best at any particular one of those things. Would really like to see it. Also, we went plus a land. Yeah, that's what I'm, getting back to 36 is probably a real good idea. What are we talking about? Let's see. Sundering Eruption. Oh, if you don't have Natural Evasion. Yeah. Sundering Eruption, like, those, like, Cosmotronic Wave is an incredibly underplayed card, in my opinion. Cosmotron. Like, those you can't block this turn type cards, really good for finishing, especially with go wide decks. We aren't a go wide deck, but yeah, sometimes like there were blockers at the end of that game, right? And if we just like Stone Rain a land to get a blocker. Codsworth underperformed, and yeah, maybe we're cutting the Codsworth. Like, it's cool. Aurelia comes down later, so like the Ward 2 isn't maybe... Yeah, by the time Aurelia comes down, people probably have mana, so there's that. Okay, we'll cut Codsworth. Anyway, yeah, Cosmotronic Wave. 1 damage each creature your opponents control, and those creatures can't block. So good. Like, and it's a timing thing, right? Like, you don't just run it out there. It's, like, okay, I'm set up, and I need to find a way through. Cosmotronic Wave is that way through. I would love to get Sunforger back in the deck. Sunforger, so good, but you do need to, like, retool the bat. Like, if we put Sunforger in, we probably need less creatures, because that's just, you have to find those Sunforger deck slots somewhere, and like you don't really want to cut the equipment, so that all becomes a thing. Oh man, Sunforger plus Final Showdown? That just seems dumb. You can do that, right? Yeah, is that how that works? I'm pretty sure that's how that works. It's expensive. Yeah, it's expensive to do that. But whew, that is a play. Just out of curiosity, is that Stone Rain thing we just put in, what's it called? Sundering? Where'd it go? Anyone see it? I do not see it. Sundering. Oh, there it is. I found it. Okay. This is it's a sorcery. I was hoping it was an instant so we could Sunforger it. That might be a bit much, but I've been finding unblockable is more and more relevant lately. The last deck I built runs both Brotherhood Garb and Psychic Paper to grant unblockability. New meta, yeah, like so because creatures have been really pushed the last I don't know what 5 years or so. There are more creatures in play, right? You don't like back in the days of old. You used to see the like the Mizzix decks where the only creature in Mizzix was probably Mizzix, and like maybe maybe a very small handful of other things, but like the Mizzix deck never had more than two creatures in play. The deck was just like entirely spells, right? And now that creatures are really good, you see a lot more of them, which means that things that blow up creatures like Sulphurous Blast, especially since things got smaller, things that give you unblockable against creatures because there's probably more of them, are really good. So yeah, things that like interact with creatures are inherently very good because there are more creatures than there used to be. And there were a lot of creatures back in the day too, but like I feel like you just even the blue red spell deck now has a bunch of like creatures, Goblin Electromancers and little like spell reduction things that it's running out there. So it does have like these 1/1s and 2/2s that can be annoying as blockers. So yeah, just having a way past all that stuff or a way to blow up all that stuff is so helpful. Yeah, Rogue's Passage is one that like you want to cut it, but then you're just like, nah, sometimes you just need unblockable, and sometimes someone's just dead because you have a Rogue's Passage. It's like a really it's not in the deck, Weathered Wayfarer, although again with all the ramp lands, Weathered Wayfarer may not be the best. Access Tunnel. What's that one do? Oh, okay, yeah. Target creature with power 3 or less can't be blocked. Probably not right for this deck. Just Voltron, right? So in theory, our creature should be bigger than 3, but I can see the place where that would be useful. Now the Mizzix decks has so many creatures that can support them. Yeah, right. So like, you know, a lot of the Niv Mizzets and whatever versions of a Goblin Electromancer we're on now. You know what I mean? We're just yeah. So there are just a lot of creatures. Things that interact with creatures are very good, and that's always why like I keep telling people. I see a lot less board wipes now, and I get it. Protection spells are really strong, so like that does put a damper on the board wipe. But like, you still gotta run them because you can't just let someone sit there and like build up all these ridiculously powerful creatures, right? If we didn't wipe the board, if we didn't have a board wipe, I think Jeff probably wins that game because or it comes very close because he had so much damage on board. All of his stuff was huge, and at some point, like if it's flying, Aurelia doesn't get through that, and I guess she's indestructible at the moment that we had her, but like there's a lot of ways for that to go wrong. So yeah, if people have been massing up, up to turn 6 or 7, like right, getting that board wipe down, particularly with Final Showdown, where it gets you through Heroic Intervention and Boros Charm and stuff like that, really powerful. You see more board wipes, but more ones that get around indestructible. Yeah, and that's sort of the arms race of it, right? Like, and I like the protection spells that exist in the game now. I hope that they don't arms race the protection spells back above the board wipes because I think that's what happened for a number of years. And the game slows down when the board wipe actually goes off. Like, I didn't see the actual turn count, but we had a punt, so it went a little longer than normal. But, like, I think that game got to about turn 9, and without a board wipe, it doesn't do that, right? Like, either we kill, like, Jeff probably kills at least one person, we probably kill 1 or 2 players, right? And then there's kind of no one left. Yeah, phasing out is key. I don't want them to go deep on that. What do we have? 2 or 3 options that do that, and like again, you need if the protection gets so good that now the board wipes aren't doing anything, then the game just speeds up like crazy. So having a couple options that like get you past something nasty is fine. Or yeah, the eerie interlude style effects, sure. But yeah, I think back to like years and years ago when just like there were very few answers for a cyclonic rift, right? And like just like if the rift, like you basically just hope that rift didn't show up if you were playing mono white because you probably couldn't win. I know that eerie interludes a card, but still losing your mana rocks and stuff was just brutal. And now the protection spells of like cyclonic rift, I don't think, I mean, it can still get you, but like if you have something for it and there are a lot more things for it, then it doesn't have to blow you out anymore, which is very different than how it used to be. All right, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I don't have the juice in me to fire up another game, and I've got some things to do today. So thank you guys for joining. I'm going to get a deck list posted up for this. Someone was asking about that as well, because I feel decent about this list. I feel it's not, the one tweak might be a little more removal. Another removal spell, another protection spell would make me happy, but I feel like it's in a good place overall. So anyway, yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.